Hello, Romans here and welcome to another music review. I review every album from a viewpoint of a musician, as I am a singer, songwriter and a bass player for my own group Jakobe. And more than 2 years ago we released our debut album called Pursuits in Life. What makes it unique is that it's a heavy prog rock without guitars. Instead you have drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards. You can check out all of our music videos on my YouTube channel. And in the description of all these videos you will find all the information about where is the record available. It's available on all digital platforms like Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp, but also in this Digipack version of a CD with a very beautifully illustrated 20 pages long booklet. So, in case you want one, all you need to do is contact me by an email, Facebook or on Instagram, or you can get one on Bandcamp as well. And today I'm going to review the new album from Fish, Weltschmerz.
Music review. Music review.
In case you don't know who Fish is, he is the former singer of Marillion, who were one of the, if not the most commercially successful 80s prog rock band. And he was on their first 4 albums, the third of which was a huge commercial success. Just check out the track Kaylee. I really love, especially the first 2 albums, but also the third one and the fourth. They're all great. And after that, he went on to have his own solo career, which is pretty extensive. And I've been wanting to get familiar with that for like forever at this point, but I never really found any time. So I decided to take his latest offering as a sort of an introduction point for me. This is his 11th and also the final offering from him, because he said that he's planning on to retire after this album. Also, it's a double album and we've got a lot of material to digest here. So basically the whole music is divided equally between the 2 CDs, so every CD is roughly 42 minutes and 8 seconds long, so that all gets together like 84 minutes of music. Also, Weltschmerz, finally pronounced it right, is from German, means the pain of the world. And interesting thing about his album is that in its first week after its release, he sold so many copies that he would end up at number 2 in UK charts, which I think would be his highest position to date. But because he's not signed to any label, because he's an independent artist, he didn't enter those charts, which just kind of shows how much the music business doesn't work, how much the whole machinery is pointless, and how much it's very actually encouraging how much an independent artist can actually achieve. Of course, first I guess you have to be a singer of a commercially successful band, but you know, anyway, it's still a huge achievement in itself. The album came out almost 2 weeks ago. As of now, I've heard it 5 times. Let's dive right into the review. The opening track is Grace of God, which is pretty long at 8 minutes and 15 seconds, and there are many lengthy compositions here. This kind of feels like 2 tracks in one, and it brought Pink Floyd and Peter Gabriel to mind. And especially when it comes to Peter Gabriel, Fish has been compared to him numerous times. But it's not necessarily his vocal delivery here that brings Peter Gabriel to mind, rather than the music itself. It's very much in that world music, art pop style.
Bruises, purple flowers cover healing punctured veins. Dark posies slowly fading in the passing of the days. Keep faith in strangers' fingers as they search a withered arm.
Then we get into this acoustic section that brings A Matter of Life and Death from Iron Maiden to mind. If you look at that record, it has some acoustic parts, and this record just somehow reminded me of them.
Angel with pop star braids, staring at the ground, her docks unlaced. Cotton dress, floral pattern.
Also, what I've noticed is that this is a very lyrics-based album, meaning that there's quite a lot of music repetition but not that much lyrical repetition. You have many similar parts melodically, but they always have different words, and there are very small pieces of text or lyrics that are actually being repeated. The second track, Man with a Stick, is from his EP from 2 years ago, and I say EP because his running time was over 50 minutes long, so I think that can classify as an album. But anyway, it's one of the 3 tracks on this album from that EP, and this is a bit more up-tempo and it has that bluesy smell. There's a nice keyboard here. And the songwriting is really subtle, meaning that the focus doesn't seem to be on the melodies, but on the words, which is something I'm not really that used to. I don't listen to this type of music very often. Also, the chorus here is relatively subtle, as you could have heard from the example. Walking on Eggshells is like an acoustic symphonic prose rock song. I think that Fish is kind of known as being one of the best lyricists and a very good poet. So I think that prose rock kind of describes the music a lot.
Praying for her call. Walking on eggshells. Walking on eggshells. The trigger point is here.
Female vocals towards the end make for a change in otherwise a very static song, and I think that this is kind of the case for many tracks. There are these little moments that really shine. The Party's Over creates a contrast because this is much shorter, much more accessible, very cheerful track with a little bit of like a folk thrown in.
I'm sick of hearing you just want to party. I'm tired of hearing the same old song. Put it on the run. This party's over. Put it on the run.
There is also saxophone, which is great. I love saxophone, and that's why I have it on every track on my album.
This party's over. This party's over.
The first CD is closed with the track Rose of Damascus. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. It's almost 16 minutes long. This is a very long track, and it's got a very imaginative atmosphere at the beginning.
The wood smoke lingers in the patchy thorns, where partridge scuffle and nervous squall. A panicking hare breaks from his cover.
It gets more upbeat with the world music coat.
Back of a bouncing car, potholes abound on the dark road to city lights, heading for coffee.
There's also this section with spoken word that very cinematically and very symphonically climaxes, and it's really great.
Petrified innocence, the interminable onslaughts from unchallenged skies.
Then we go back to that acoustic instrumentation, and the song ends in that spoken word storytelling fashion. And there's a very short, subtle guitar solo, also like an acoustic guitar solo. But generally, you know, it's almost 16 minutes long. It's a very long track, but there isn't really that much going on. So it's really about the words, and musically it's just very, very subtle. The CD2 is open with the track Garden of Remembrance, and this is one of the most beautiful tracks I've heard like ever. Like, this is genuinely a touching, gentle, moving track. It's a piano-led song, and it's very, very intimate. And also the subject matter of the track is very original yet very serious, and it definitely makes for one of the highlights on the album. Also, the chorus is beautiful, and I love that it maintains the atmosphere.
He's lost between the here and now, somewhere that he can't be found. She's still here. a love, a ghost of memory. She'll wait for an eternity.
C song, the Trondheim Waltz, I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, as the title suggests, is in a waltz rhythm, so we have a 3/4 time signature. This is a very bright, relaxing song. There's again that bit of a folk and blues thrown in. Little Man What Now? Question mark. This is almost 11 minutes long track and one of the 3 tracks that appeared on an EP from 2018. And this is a very, very Pink Floydish track. The saxophone here adds to the strength of the overall atmosphere. It's an amazing track. I think because of its atmosphere, it works a little better than the other long tracks on the album. At around 7 minutes the song changes and it alters the mood, and usually I'm not very fond of changes like these in tracks, but here I think it sounds great.
Well, little man, what now? Tangled down, your thoughts are strangled tight, the creeping knotweed.
And also that jazz saxophone brings the Black Star from David Bowie to mind, and I love that record. Waverly Steps, End of the Line, is the 3rd track that appeared on an EP from 2 years ago. And this is, again, another very lengthy track at around 14 minutes long. And in terms of the atmosphere and vibe, it kind of continues what the previous track started. And then we get these trumpets, which make it sound very exotic. And when the song rocks up, it's just awesome.
Back in the day with no cares and no worries, it was just about being alive.
There are many moments here in this track that will kind of stay with you after first couple of listenings. Also, we get some Spanish vibes with that, almost like a flamenco guitar.
A testament of hate. The dogs of war were gathered.
And we're going to the final title track, Weltschmerz. The final track is the title track, Weltschmerz, and the song is similar to the most of the tracks on the album in its vibe. It's very laid back, but then when the chorus comes, it took me by surprise. It was totally unexpected, and you know, I've heard around 4,000 records in my life. I listen to like 300-400 records per year. There isn't really much that surprised me in music anymore. When this chorus came on for the first time, I was like, wow, that was interesting. I loved that. It surprised me, and I love when music does that in a good way. I love the very exotic oriental vibe of the chorus, which is even more audible when we hear a guitar solo with female vocals in the same progression. To sum up, I really enjoyed this album, even though I do have to say it's a lot of music to digest. I know it's a double album and this is strictly my own subjective preference. I prefer records when they're shorter. Whenever I'm listening to a double album, a very good example is The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from Genesis, which I've revisited recently, and I always focus on one album from the double album at a time. Like, I listen to CD 1 for like a month, then I go to CD 2, and I just find it to be a bit easier and more accessible, but of course I had to kind of check the whole record out. Anyway, I will keep coming back to it because I think it's a really beautiful piece of work, even though I will get back to it with smaller chunks at the time, so probably from now on I'll stick to CD1 and then CD2. But yeah, I think it's very interesting music. There are a lot of great moments that I think you will kind of remember upon like first 2 or 3 listenings. I'm really looking forward to discovering the rest of his discography. If you like this video and if you like the videos I'm making, consider supporting me by purchasing my debut album Pursuits in Life. Because I include audio samples and thus I make my reviews and videos the most informative and entertaining to watch, I usually run a risk of getting a copyright claim, meaning that I won't be able to get any money from these videos. So the only way how you can support me is by buying my debut album, and I think you're gonna really love it. Have you heard his album already? You can let me know in the comment section below whether you agreed or disagreed with me. If you are a Fish fan, you can let me know how well do you think it compares to his previous records, maybe which one should I listen to next, which one is your favorite one. You can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. You can find links to both in the description of this video below. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Check out my own original music, my live performances, my worst to best series, and quite a lot of other reviews as well. Thanks a lot for watching.